What is going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Today we have another guest, I'm excited to talk to this gentleman because we're going to be talking about a unique idea, which is your story is your value. And so often we hear the question, what does giving value mean? What is delivering value? I hear this word all the time, value, 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 value. I see it also on, paper towel rolls to where it says 30% more value. I always saw that, of course, as I was shopping and growing up. And I thought to myself, what does that actually mean? 30% more value. And then we get into marketing and everybody's talking about value. What do you got to do? How are you successful? You deliver value. And everybody's talking about this ambiguous word called value, right? And so today we're going to try to add some context to that for you with a marketer who's been in the game for a long time, who's got some great experience, and who's learning and is a part of our community now. We're grateful to have him here all the way, I believe, from Massachusetts. Help me welcome to the Wake Up Legendary stage, Seth Anderson. What's up, brother?
Hey, man. It is Bellingham. It's just Washington instead of Bellingham, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Other coast.
A totally opposite coast.
Yeah, just way earlier in the morning. That's all.
How close is that to Snoqualmie?
It's about an hour and a half.
Okay. We got my wife's best friend from Jersey moved to Snoqualmie, so we've got some close friends out there, and now we've got more friends. So good to meet you, brother.
You too.
So we're going to talk about, we ask everybody who's going to come on to the show, what do you think would be good to deliver value on? There I go with that value. It's hilarious. What do you think you could deliver that would be valuable to people? Let me frame it like that. And you said, hey, your story is your value. So we're going to talk about that. And that's going to be a unique concept to some people. It's going to be new. It's not going to be new to others. I'm probably going to be able to add some value into the conversation as well. But take us back. I know you've got experience with Amazon and a couple of different business models. Tell us what got you started and what ultimately led you to us.
So, I think it's probably like most of us, we start out typing something like how to make money online, into Google. Mine was just a decade ago instead of when COVID hit. I knew I've always felt like I want to be an entrepreneur, and I've tried different business models. I've been in real estate, different stuff like that. But once the online thing really became a reality for people, I recognized this would give me time freedom and everything like that. And so it just drew me into, hey, that laptop lifestyle idea of if I could achieve that, that's what I really wanted. And so through all of the things, like I said, I've done Amazon, I've built websites, I've done things like that. More and more this concept, because I get asked a lot, well, I'm just starting out, what do I do? And so often the focus is on just the technical side of it, because people think I don't know anything, I can't bring anything to the table. And that's where this concept of everyone, because of their life story, whether they're young or old or whatever they've been through, has value to bring to somebody else in whatever business that they are getting into, especially in any type of online. That brought me eventually to you guys. I heard about this 15-day challenge and thought, I've been doing this a lot, but I try to keep myself open that, even for something like a 15-day challenge there, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to pick up something that I'm like, wow. And I was really blown away by how much value is in that 15-day challenge. And that's how I got started with Legendary.
Okay, that's concise and right to the point. I appreciate that, and thank you for the kudos on our challenge. I know you've done some challenges and stuff, and even have one yourself. And so there's a success leaves clues. Even though you've been doing this for a decade, the fact that you're still learning and also curious, that's part of also the competition, staying, not particularly keeping up with the Joneses, but am I competitive in the marketplace? it is what I'm creating. Now there's a difference between am I competitive and comparisonitis, right?
Right.
Because I mean, we could of course get into, comparing ourselves to, we can always find somebody who we don't measure up to, right?
Right.
That if we look hard enough, that's been sort of a belief that I've had my entire life, that if I look hard enough, I'm always going to find somebody that's better than me at something. Is that why I shouldn't get started? Is that why I shouldn't give this an honest effort?
Right.
And I've always said, if they're better, then let me learn why they're better. Let me see if there's a way that I can somehow compensate in some other way or whatever, right? I mean, there's always a creative way to be successful at anything. And so I think part of you, if I was to guess right, I'm assuming, of course, but you're learning, you're also studying the marketplace and also seeing what else is out there. Am I right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely not one of those people that thinks I know everything, especially the online marketing world is huge. And so when I look at somebody who's doing something well, I try to keep those open eyes of there's things that I do well, but there's other people that are doing things that maybe it's an arena that I don't have as much familiarity with, or even if it is something I'm familiar with, everybody does something a little bit different. And then you go, wait, I haven't seen that before. That's new to me. How can that work for me? Is it something that should work for me or not? And so, yeah, that ability to just, I like I said, I've been doing this for a decade, but I spend a lot of time still learning, because not just because things change, but because I want to get better.
Yeah.
And the more I get better, I'm able to help people more.
Sure.
So
deliver more value, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you're just tuning in, the reason why we're joking about this, you kind of hear us we're trying to be humorous. I'm a guy who's,
I think we're humorous.
I think I'm funnier. I think I'm funnier than I actually am. That's, some would call that a curse. I think it's a blessing because it keeps me laughing at myself. Sometimes I look around and others aren't laughing and I'm like, I thought that was funny. But anyways, so the reason why we're laughing at ourselves is because, the title is this kind of, your story is value, like there's value in your story. And we always talk about this value thing. So, how are you successful online? How are you successful as a marketer? How are you successful in a business, really is what it comes down to. Well, are you out in the marketplace delivering value? And one of the concepts that we use is edutainment, partly educating, partly entertaining, exactly what we're doing right here on this show. I mean, we may be less entertaining than we think we are, as I was alluding to a minute ago. But the point is that we're educating in hopefully somewhat of an entertaining way. And part of that is value, others, a guy named Joe Polish, who's a kind of a marketing legend, I've heard him call it education-based selling. There's lots of different ways that you can sort of coin it. But the fact is that businesses, not just online, businesses are successful by giving something that is valuable to something up front before they ask for money. As I've heard Frank Kern, one of my friends and nemesis in the industry, that's a whole long backstory I won't get into. But he goes, there's a concept of helping people, of demonstrating that you can help people by actually helping them before you ever sell them something or ask for money. So I'm showing you that I can help you before by actually helping you in a webinar, in a video, in an email. And then I go, if you would like more help like that, sign up for this program or sign up for this course. It's like really a simple concept, but it flies over people's heads. Now that's thing number one. Thing number two is my story. And a lot of people are scratching their head, Seth. They're going, I don't get it. I don't understand how my story is value. So what do you mean by that?
So this question usually comes up, at least I notice, with people that are brand new. they think they don't have anything to tell yet because they only look at it from, well, I haven't done anything online. I haven't made any money. That's not what I mean by, your story bringing value. Sure, someone like myself or you, we have time that we can tell stories from our, online businesses, but you have a life you've led. And people often, they want to connect with somebody who they feel relates to them. I mean, there's big name gurus that everybody knows and they fill stadiums and, they're, empowering and, they've got good things to say, but you might not ever connect with them personally or on like a one-to-one level, and their success is way too far out in front of you. So most often we want to connect with the person who we feel is us, but just doing a little bit better. So even somebody who's brand new, they've gone through something in their life, whatever their struggles have been, whatever their story is that starts them from going from, I was an employee to now I want to do this thing, even if I'm not there yet. There's somebody who's right one step or two steps behind them going, hey, this person's doing what I want to do. And that story is value to see what are the hurdles they're overcoming. The person that wants to go from no dollars to their first 100 probably doesn't want to learn from the guy that says, I'll teach you how to make $8 million this year. They're going, wait a second, I just need to learn to make my first $100. So that's where that story, that person where they're at now can have value even for someone's brand new starting out.
I think out of everything you just said, which it was all phenomenal, I really like the line about we want, and I'm going to butcher it, we're more attracted to people that are us, but just a couple of steps ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's why it doesn't, there can be a lot of people teaching similar things, like especially in the online space, but we connect with personalities. We connect with story. We connect with who they are as a person and what they've gone through and where they're at. When I first, got started online, I wanted to learn from the person who, had just started making a little bit of money and could tell me these were the exact steps I just did. Mm-hmm. And I could go, okay, I'll follow this.
Yeah.
Whereas the person that goes, I've been doing this for 30 years and I've got this multi-million-dollar company and all these employees, and I'm going, I'm not anywhere close to that. And it's so
truthfully, man, and I know everybody aspires to be able to have, not everyone, let me restate this. There's a lot of people who think that, well, I can't begin marketing because I don't have, and let me speak specifically about like the make money online niche, right? Which would include affiliate marketing or course creation, teaching people how to, do affiliate marketing or any, Amazon or drop shipping or anything. Then you've got network marketing, like all that, if it's sold from a make money perspective, those are make money online things. Everybody aspires to or thinks that they're inadequate unless they have like this Lamborghini behind them or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's right. I'm speaking more from a male perspective. Females, maybe it's something different or whatever, but we always kind of, but the truth is that stuff, as you just said, is less relatable. Right. It's one of the reasons why, I drive a pretty nice car. It'd probably be impressive in videos, but or in TikToks and YouTubes or interviews or whatever. But I'm not sitting in my car doing these interviews every day, or sitting in a chair with my car in the background. I've seen people who have setups and they're in their garage, and then they've actually got a live stream set up with their Lamborghini parked in the garage over there. So on every video, it's clear that they have a Lamborghini, and it's like, I purposefully, even though I do have some things that might impress people, I purposefully don't market like that, because just as you said, it makes me unrelatable. Right. It makes me to where, and I don't want to be that. I don't want to be unrelatable. I don't want to be unbelievable. And that's really what, one of the things that people, unbelievable. That's unbelievable. People actually say that to themselves, even if it's secretly in their head and it's unconscious and they don't realize that they're saying it. They're like, that's unbelievable. Or this person must be bullshitting, scamming, lying, renting, right?
Right.
Manufacturing. And this is sort of it's really sort of confusing to a lot of people when they come online. Instagram has been a great example. You've got your people who are just flashing trash, and they might have people who follow them because it's kind of like a train wreck, and you can't stop watching, like they're just blowing their money on just dumb stuff. And it's like that kind of seems cool, but boy, eventually it seems like those are not very good, money decisions. But then you have people who, like you said, are normal people, or at least they don't try to be something that they're not. They're vulnerable, they're authentic, they're probably a few steps ahead of where you're at in from a fitness standpoint or a money standpoint, business standpoint. And if you ask yourself, who do I gravitate towards more? Who would I rather do business with? Who do I look up to more? It's always the person that you wonderfully and eloquently described as the person who is me, just a couple of steps ahead. And so how does story really play into that, Seth? Is it finding stories from my everyday life that I tell from just a vulnerable and authentic place that I'm using to make a point? And because I try to have a rule: never tell a story without making a point, never make a point without telling a story. Is it kind of the everyday things that I'm trying to pull from my life to use as stories in my emails, in TikToks, in YouTubes that I can make points with? Or is it my big life story that I tell that is my real value? Or is it both?
Right. I really don't think that there's necessarily a wrong way to go about it, because like you said, there's, like, don't make a point without a story, don't make a story without a point. Are you getting feedback from me?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, especially like for the people that are starting out or whatever, what you're going through in your life is what connects people to you. Stuff that you've gone through in your past can also connect you to people because they've gone through similar things. So I personally, I talk about that I've never had these Lamborghini dreams. I do not connect with that crowd. I don't like, even if that was just my monetary daily life, I wouldn't own one because it's not important to me. It doesn't matter to me. So I connect with the people that doesn't matter to them at all either. And I got into this because I wanted time and location freedom. So I still live in the same condo that I had before I made it online, because I hate yard work. So why would I buy a big place where I have to take care of yard? I mean, it's just not like, I like where I live. So why would I change that? So whether you're making a point or not, it's just about being relatable. And that's why I think it's so much easier for somebody to start, because they immediately are relatable as, I don't know what I'm doing yet. Like, you can, instead of, everybody thinks they have to be the leader. Like, they have to be the person that has all of the answers, which is simply not true. A lot of people are looking for a companion, a traveler with them, that they can say, hey, I'm going to go on this journey. Why don't you go on it with me? We're both going to make some mistakes. We're going to bump along and we're going to get some scrapes and bruises, but we're going to do it together. So at least if one of us falls, we can pick each other up. And anybody can do that, even on day one. And so that's where that, personal, what you've been through or what you're going through now or what you're attempting to do can connect with somebody. And you just have to realize you're going to connect with some people and you're not going to connect with others. And you don't need to try and be all things to all people. You just, you're going to resonate with a certain audience and others you're not. And that's okay, because we all are going to find somebody, different, that we, feel like we resonate with, and we're going to want to follow their journey and be a part of it.
Yeah. Pat Bracey just said, wow, just be relatable. Who else is having some aha moments here? We've got Larry Miller says, wow, he just gave me 10 ideas for TikToks. Adelia said, wow, love it. Kelly Olson said, that's so true and wise. How many of you guys are having aha moments here and beginning to see? I'd love you to drop a comment and let us know. Yes, having an aha moment. You know what? Getting value. Because I want to tell you this quick story. I was listening to Tai Lopez talk recently, and Tai's ventured over into buying brands, Pier 1 and Radio Shack and in a couple, and there's nobody in internet marketing who doesn't know him because of how many ads and how many videos and how big he built his viral persona. You know what I mean? But he said that for many years in internet marketing, like he played dumb. He dumbed way down. And although he was flashing mansions and stuff like that, what he meant is that what I think he meant was that he never was trying to talk over anybody's head. He was never trying to talk over anybody's head. He was always trying to talk in ways that people understood, that people could connect to, right? Trump, obviously we're transitioning from Trump. Some are extremely happy about that, some are not. But if you look at it from an objective standpoint, the reason why he connected with so many people was because he didn't talk over anybody's head. He used language that was proven to be at a 5th or so grade level. Never used big words. Never, even though he said he had the best words, never used big words. Now, whether he did that on purpose or not, I don't know. But there's a, and I'm not saying be like Trump, and I'm not saying be like Tai Lopez. That's not what I'm saying. I'm using these folks as examples. Again, please hear me out. I'm not saying be like either one of those people. I want to be very clear about that. But there's a power in being relatable. There's a power in not talking over people's heads. And I think the biggest thing for me that I want people to hear from what you're saying today, Seth, is that what you just said, for example, with saying, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just starting out. You're typically going to get more people who are going to cheer you on and even want to participate in what you're doing if they feel like they're more on the same level as you, versus they feel like you're so far ahead of them that they feel intimidated to even reach out to you, or like you're too far away or too busy. Does that resonate with you guys who are listening? Can you comment and let us know that makes sense? And Seth, when I say that, what comes up for you?
Oh, I immediately resonated with that, because I was just thinking about your example of Tai Lopez. The average person who's just getting started, they're not cheering Tai Lopez on. No. They think he's already made it, and they want to take from him. Now that's where he's putting himself out there, but they don't feel like they need to be his, support and cheerleader, because they think, I'm never even going to get to his level. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It's he's got support from a different crowd, that's on that level or whatever. But, his cheerleaders are not those that are starting out. The person that is starting out, those that are on that same level, or thinking about starting out, are going, yeah, I want to see this person succeed because I am that person. Yeah. And and that's where
be looking to take, like you said, take from Tai. Like they may even be buying from Tai out of like resentment, like let me figure out what, versus, buying and joining and feeling good about the purchase and then becoming an evangelist for him. Like most people are not buying. You can sort of gauge whether the people that you're buying from, how you feel about them by how willing you are to tell others that you did business with them. right?
Absolutely.
So, like I can see a lot of people that might buy from him might do it in not really going to go share the sales page link on their Facebook or go
Right.
tell their friends about it. Whereas if they buy something from as an affiliate from you, or maybe you're an affiliate for us, and then they come and they go through our challenge, maybe they might feel more excited to say, oh, I'm going through this challenge and it's really exciting and I'm learning a lot and I'm just starting out. But and then people who are and here's what I think, Seth, one of the biggest things that we need to add to this conversation is the fact that a lot of the people that follow you or are in your sphere of influence, whether that be 100 followers on TikTok or some people on 100 people on YouTube or whatever, they're not immediately going to buy what you're recommending on day one. It takes usually several exposures.
Right.
And I think the biggest challenge that people have is I got this from recovery. It's kind of like a saying that people say, they get clean and then they don't, and then they still feel like shit. And then they go out and they relapse before the miracle happens. Don't quit before the miracle happens, right? I think the same thing happens here. Is we begin this style of marketing that we're talking about right now, and we don't get a big response, or we don't get a bunch of leads, or we don't make a bunch of sales in the first week of the first month, and we think that we're not making progress, but we don't realize all the seeds that have already been planted. Do you agree with that?
Right. Absolutely. I tell people a lot, like, it took me 6 years from trying online to actually succeeding, as far as like moving from making a little bit here or there to actually being able to work online full time. It took me 6 years. I don't think that's necessary for people to go through that. I did it in a very like haphazard, trying to figure it all out on my own and jumping from one thing to the next. I don't think that's necessary. But I remember hearing this thing from Gary Vee, and he said, if you were willing to wait 20 years for your success, then you're probably going to get there in 3 to 5. And I see that, especially in the online marketing world, where, I'll talk to somebody and they'll be like, man, I've been at this for a month and I haven't made anything yet. And I'm like, so what? Like most businesses, like in the real world, they're not in profit for years. So just keep building. I mean, are you going to give up on that dream in the first month? Put the time in, put the foundation down, keep going. It will grow. You will continue to, connect with people, to, grow your following, people that want to hear what you have to say. You will start making sales. Some people, like, we celebrate all the people that, boom, overnight they were a success, but that's not most of our journeys. It's not. And I think when people, start to realize, like, oh, other people, especially if you're one of those people that, you struggled for a while to get there, they go, okay, it's okay to struggle for a little bit. I don't have to, just immediately have success. And that is very relatable for people. So I think it's just important that, people understand that it's going to take time. And if they're, if they went out and paid the money to buy a McDonald's franchise, they're not going to give up if they're not in profit the first month. So why would they do that online with a business? Just be willing to put in the time, go through a little bit of that learning curve, get some of it out of the way by taking the 15-day challenge, whatever that is, and just keep going with it, because, you can, and there's nothing wrong. I feel bad. Sometimes I talk about like getting out of a job. Some people love their job and they want to keep doing it, and that's fine. There's no judgment on somebody being an employee or not. But if they want to get out, then you need to be willing to put in the time to, replace that income. And if it doesn't happen overnight, keep going.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting what you just mentioned about McDonald's, because I had went through ChickFilA and I took it over to my mom's house, and I was sitting down talking to my stepdad, and he was like, he actually Googled the ChickFilA franchise, and it was interesting. I was trying to find the exact language here, but there was something about, you shouldn't expect to make money right away. And some people don't make money at all. And there's a lot of risk. Some of the language says, Chick-fil-A franchises run their own incredibly complex business, ultimately in charge of all aspects of the restaurant. Their success and return on investment are proportionate to their hard work, business acumen, and leadership effectiveness. It is not, however, guaranteed. So we're talking about a restaurant that is, if I was to look at any franchise in America, I would think that that's about as damn guaranteed as you could get, because every single time that I drive by Chick-fil-A, it is absolutely packed, right?
Right.
But they're very clear right up front. If you're looking, franchising is not an opportunity for passive financial investment, working from the sidelines, or adding to a portfolio of business ventures. This business opportunity is hands-on life investment to own and operate a quick serve restaurant. It often requires long hours and leading a team of mostly young, hourly paid employees. It's hard work, but it's exceedingly rewarding. So, we think that what we're doing here by, going out, maybe taking some training here at Legendary, somewhere else, we're not saying that we're the only game in town. We're just saying we think we're the best and most honest and simplest and with the most integrity game in town. But we're certainly not the only game in town. So somebody comes online and they go through some education, you go through some training to fast track your learning process versus just kind of going through YouTube videos, which is what so many people try to do.
Right.
And they end up just going from rabbit hole to rabbit hole. And they sit at home. We sit at home on our computers, and we put in some sweat equity, some elbow grease, and money doesn't fly out from the computer, and we think that it's not working.
Right.
and it's like, well, the alternative is, if you want to be in business, I mean, you can buy a lawnmower, knock on doors, you can mow lawns, right? You can, I was going to start a construction company. You could start, my wife was thinking about, and still may in the future, start a counseling firm. You have options. I mean,
right.
But you could open a Chick-fil-A franchise, right? And manage, 18-year-olds, and take years to, nothing against 18-year-olds, but I mean, quite frankly, many of them are smarter and better working than people my age and older. But long hours, a lot of risk, not a guarantee of success. Coming home smelling like chicken nuggets every night. First one there, last one to go home. You set the precedent. So we start to look at this and we say, damn, I didn't realize that I could just, be more relatable. I could be more down to earth. I don't have to put on a facade. I don't have to fake it till I make it. I can just use story. I can use experiences. One of the ways, Seth, and I'll say this and then I'll hand it over to you for some final thoughts here. But what the best marketing strategy that I've learned over the years in terms of telling story has been this. Okay, so everybody lean in and listen closely. It's learning how to use daily experiences that I have in my life, in my business, and turning those into emails, and turning those into videos, and turning those into stories that I tell on lives like this. It's sure, I've certainly also learned how to tell my story. And if you watch particularly a sales video or something like that, you'll sort of see how I do that, which is just using that as sort of a hero's journey story. That's all that is. But it's learning, Seth, how to take little experiences, little aha moments that I have throughout the day, little bloopers that I'm embarrassed about, but there's something that I can pull from that that's a learning experience, or share to be more relatable, or share to do some, I think it's called self-deprecating humor, where I'm sort of making fun of myself, right?
Right.
But which makes me more relatable, makes me just not, but it's, Seth, it's the daily, because we always wonder, well, what should I mean, after 10 years, a certain point you go, shit, I don't know what I can write about anymore.
Right.
But then you begin to put on and I say this all the time, you begin to put on your marketing glasses, right? To where you see everything in life as a story that you can use in a email or a video or something. And what you then realize, what I've realized, is that my life, what I do on a daily basis in my business, and even things that happen in my personal life, provide me with a never ending source of content. And that could even be something that I learned from you today by listening into this live. I was sitting at my computer, logged onto a live, was half baked and half awake. And all of a sudden, this guy, Seth, said something that gave me a light bulb moment, and I want to share it with you in this email, right? Or I want to share it with you in this TikTok. And so again, it doesn't have to be things that I'm particularly doing. It could be things that I'm experiencing, others are saying, that I learned from them. I read a great email yesterday about a lesson that somebody learned at a mastermind from somebody. And it was one of the best emails I've read in a long time. It was just, he was sharing a nugget that he learned from somebody else, and it was really valuable. So that's my kind of big final finale secret that I wanted to contribute to this. But I want to turn it over to you for any final thoughts on that, or anything else that you think would be of value based on this conversation that we've been having.
Yeah, I appreciate that. With that point specifically, I think we overcomplicate it, especially if you like, let's say you were just starting out and you were still working at your job. This wasn't like a full-time online gig, and you think like, what am I going to talk about? I just go to my same job day in and day out. Well, the reality of like, that's your monotony. Let's say if you don't want to be there, that's relatable to the people that are doing the same thing, of like, oh, this thing happened at work today, and it was just another reminder of, this is not what I want to be doing. And that will connect, if you're connecting with that audience that is trying to get out of that same situation, like, oh, yep, I connect to that feeling. I know what it's like. So you don't have to have, we try and figure these big, huge, grandiose, like, oh, these life-changing moments. They don't have to be. Like, most of the things that happen in our life are not the big life-changing. It's all these little things that we continually, pick up these little nuggets here and here that build into who we become. I think back to like, my dad was a house painter, and he taught all of his kids how to paint houses. I painted houses when I was a teenager and, into my 20s. You could make good money, I'll say, like a per hour wage doing that, if you were really fast and skilled, and so that's what I did for a while. And then I realized this isn't what I want, because I'm tied to the location, because if I all of a sudden pick up and move, I'm going to have to start this over again. And even if I get out of swinging the actual brush, I'm now having to train and manage people that are doing that for me. And if I really want to get out of it, then I have to build that business to the point where I could sell it to somebody else. And that seems like a massive amount of work. And so I realized early, this isn't what I want to do. I'm good at it even. I can make good money at it, but this is not the life I want. And so when I started like looking at how to do things online, I realized it was more in line with what I wanted. So if there's anything that I like try and I think so many people get into this because they want to just make money, and that's totally understandable. Most of us get started that same way, but we don't spend enough time thinking about what we actually want out of it. And so some people that is the Lamborghini, some people that's just, to leave a job. Some people it's just, I'd like to retire my spouse. I like what I do for my work, but I'd like to make enough to get them out of there, whatever that is, and realize that putting in that time because it's what you want is way more enjoyable. It's way more beneficial. It's easier to sustain, than any of the things that we try and do that we don't enjoy. And that they get to write that story. They get to make those decisions. We have people all the time with advertising and stuff telling us what we should want. And we don't have to listen. We get to do and pick. And especially I know that you have listeners all over the world, but I'm in the United States. We have a ton of freedom of choice, from what we eat to where we live, to what we wear, to how we live our life and all those things. And, doing that online, especially, is an immense amount of freedom that honestly has never been available in history. And that's not to get this big meta thing of, how amazing of the time we live in, but it is the reality that this didn't work before. And so if you have to put in some work, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, however long it takes, if what you want out of it, it is all worth it.
Yeah. Oh. And I just had one last thought that your words there sparked, which is there's nothing wrong with sharing a big, hairy, audacious goal with people. And I'll give you an example of that. You mentioned Gary Vee earlier, and one of the goals that he's been sharing for as long as I've known about him and heard his content is that he wants to buy the Jets one day. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he ever will. I don't know if he ever will. I don't know if he will have enough money. I don't know if he would ever, if they would be for sale. I don't know. I have no clue what the details are of that goal, but something about him sharing that big, hairy goal is cool. It's just cool. It's right. Cool that he shares that goal, and it makes me think bigger. It makes me dream bigger. You know what I mean? And it also makes me relate to him because the skeptic or the cynical part of me, the pessimistic part of me says he ain't never going to do that. But it makes me want to root him on. You know what I mean? It makes me want to root him on. And it makes me think about my goals. Do I have a goal? What am I building towards? What am I working towards? And a lot of times my wife and I say, do we have anything on the calendar to look forward to? There's an excitement also about having something that you're working towards and sharing that with people. And then sort of like reveling in that, like celebrating that, like staying motivated about that. So there's in the way that I would use that in marketing is kind of the same way that Gary uses that. If I was going to, think about a huge goal that I have and constantly talk about that, I would try to say, I didn't what if I sent out an email or did a TikTok that said, you know what? Hey, look, it's every day is not Lamborghinis and mansions. Yesterday, I only made $1 in my business. And I wanted to just share that this is the reality of what it looks like to be an entrepreneur. They're not always $100 or $1,000 days, but hey, guess what? I'm $1 closer to buying those jets. Right. So click this link if you want to get $1 closer potentially to reaching your goals as well. Right? It's just a creative little angle, man, that and I got to think for myself, and so anyways, dude, great conversation. And we could obviously talk about this for so long because this is sort of what we do every day. Right. I hope all of you guys listening got incredible value as we do in this show. Where can people follow you at? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, they can find me on TikTok. Side Hustle Seth.
Nice.
I I actually kind of figured out TikTok because of Legendary.
Yeah.
Like I'd heard about it. I knew, like maybe it was something I should check out, but it wasn't until you guys started talking about it that I was like, man, I think I'm loving it. It
Yeah.
is,
Same.
it's a like, so I, this is the one thing that like kind of cracks me up when you talk about like people cheering you on and stuff like that. I have TikTok followers that we have real conversations. People think of it as this app where you don't even really necessarily. I connect with a lot of people,
Yeah.
and we have real conversations about what's going on in life and where they want to go. And like kind of back to the Gary Vee thing real quick, like he talks about all of the stuff that he grinded out in the past and the things that he's done and whatever. So when he talks about this big audacious goal of the Jets, you don't think like he's a scumbag for wanting to do that. You think, wow, that's really cool. So when, I talk about things on TikTok about that I've done or I've had success at or whatever, because I've shared the relatable things that other people are going through and they've connected with me as a real person. They don't go, wait, this guy wants to do this. Who is he to say, they go, awesome, cool, because they want to do those things too. And so it's just, I love it. It's fun. It's one of the most fun platforms I've ever used. So yeah, love to see people on there.
Well, if for anything, if you guys are not on there yet, get on there and follow Seth. Sure, you'll get a lot of value.
That's what I try and bring.
Dude, great conversation today. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for being a part of our platform, our community. It is what it is because of people like you who are willing to go through our education, never stop learning, turn around, give back. So we really appreciate it, man.
I appreciate the invite. Thanks, Dave.
All right, buddy. We'll see you later.
All right, bye.
All right, my friends. There it is. Once again, another great show. I love the conversation today. Relates so much to my journey and how I've used story as a tool to deliver value and relatability to the marketplace over the years. To my followers, whether it was 2 people that were reading an email or watching a video, or 200,000. It's always kind of been the same formula. It's just the audience just grows. And today we sort of encapsulated that formula, I hope, in a really clear way for you guys. So meet us back here tomorrow. We'll have another phenomenal guest delivering more value and hopefully inspiring you guys to go out and not only put this stuff to action, but also share it with the world, because there's a lot of people who are starving and looking for this kind of quality information. And this can be a great introduction into this world for your audience as well. So repurpose this both by sharing these videos, but also by sharing these ideas. Be legendary. We'll see you tomorrow.